Hallo mijn centen, hoe gaat het? We are back with another video about the Dutch sentence structure. Today we are talking about the subclauses, or as I like to call them, the verb kickers. What are they? When do we use them? How do we use them? Let's talk about it. By the way, it is very hot here right now. I have two fans on me, so if the audio is a little bit affected by the fans, I hope it's not that bad. Before we get into anything though, make sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, buy me a coffee, book a class with me through the link in the description, and propose to me in the comments. Thank you very much. Good, time for the subclause. I hope you followed and you practiced the other two videos before about the Dutch sentence structure, in which we discussed the traditional sentence structure and then the inversion. During my classes, I built these up very slowly because a lot of students end up mixing everything up. So make sure to pace yourself and practice with the other two first before you get to this one, because otherwise it's just going to get to a confusing mess. So the subclauses, or the verb kickers, are just as hard as the other two, if not harder. It honestly just makes no sense. We use them when we have a subclause or a verb kicker. Basically, any of the following conjunctions that kicks the verb to the end of the sentence. There are only a few conjunctions who do this. By the way, conjunctions are a part of the sentence that connect two sentence clauses together. A sentence clause contains, normally, most of the time, a subject and a verb, right? So if we want to start a new sentence with a second sentence clause, for example, when we use a word like and, because, or, right? Those are very common conjunctions in English. Then we need to use the conjunction and, because, or. Does that make sense? Great. Okay. In Dutch, we have quite a few sentence clauses. We don't have any main clause conjunctions. That means that we start the sentence again with the normal sentence structure of subject, verb, and object. So the normal sentence clauses, or the main clause conjunctions, there are only a few, and they are en, want, of, and maar. And that's it. We also have dan wel, but that one is you can forget about that one. It's not very popular. So en, want, of, and maar. Those are the only main clause conjunctions, so in which the sentence stays completely normal. So I hope you already know what these conjunctions mean, right? En is and, of is or, maar is but, and want is because. So we have two words for because. We have want and omdat. A lot of students learn omdat first because that is arguably the word that we use more often to say because in Dutch. That, however, does not mean that it's an easier one to use, because omdat is one of the verb kicker conjunctions. So I always tell my beginner students who want to say because to just use want for now, so that they don't have to think about the sentence structure. But then later on, when I teach them the subclause conjunctions, or the verb kickers, then I will introduce how to say omdat, right? So what are the subclause conjunctions? We have many of them. But most importantly, the ones that I always teach my students in the beginning are dot, or any type of word with dot in it, such as omdat, zodat, doordat, etc. Right? So they are all verb kickers or subclause conjunctions. Now, aside from that, also words like toen and als are very important verb kicker words, okay? And then the last set of words that I want you to memorize for now, right? Because we have a whole long list of subclause conjunctions. The last set of words that I want you to memorize for now are the question words, right? Like wat, waar, waarom, hoe, or wat, waar, waarom, hoe, and wait, is there another one? What are the question words again? Wat, waar, waarom, hoe, and wie. Wie is the fifth one. Yes? So those are also verb kickers. So now that you have a whole list of verb kickers or subclause conjunctions, I'll just say verb kickers from now on because otherwise I'm just going to say like the two things all the time. So now that you have a whole list of the verb kickers, how does it work? So when we use a verb kicker in a sentence, that means for the second part of the sentence, right, or the next part of the sentence, the verb goes to the end of the sentence. For example, if you want to say, I am happy because it is sunny, right? And if we use want, you could just say, ik ben blij want het is zonnig. But if we use omdat, we have to say, ik ben blij omdat het zonnig is. So we don't mix anything else in the sentence. We don't place anything else anywhere else in the sentence, okay? We just use the verb, we just take the verb is and we place it at the end of the sentence. Yes, it is easier for students who are really into puzzles or math, you know what I mean? Like it's like very easy to like visualize it. It is a little bit harder for students, especially when they are trying to use it in the moment. It is a little bit harder to use the verb kickers whenever they are in the moment. But that is basically the rule. So the rule is not that difficult, okay? Now, what I want you to practice with for today is I have a few sentences in which I use want, and I want you to try to change them to omdat. Yes? So we're going to start with the first sentence, and that is, ik wil niet naar buiten, want het regent nu. Okay, ik wil niet naar buiten, want het regent nu. Now, we're going to change want to omdat. So what happens to the rest of the sentence? Think about it for a second. Feel free to pause the video if you need. And I'm going to tell you the answer now. And that is, ik wil niet naar buiten omdat het nu regent. Right? So basically, nu and regent are switched. Okay, good. So let's try the second sentence. And that is, hij heeft geen honger, want hij heeft net pizza gegeten. He's not hungry because he just ate pizza. Hij heeft geen honger, want hij heeft net pizza gegeten. So this one is a little bit tougher. We have two verbs here, right? The verbs, if you can identify them, are heeft and gegeten, right? So what do we do here? Think about it. The answer is, hij heeft geen honger omdat hij net pizza heeft gegeten. Is it also correct to say, omdat hij net pizza gegeten heeft? Yes, it is. And this one is especially popular with my German students because Germans, they use like almost the same grammar. But for them, it is very important to place the first verb last, right? So the first verb in this case would be heeft, and to place it after the last verb. In Dutch, I wouldn't say so, especially with the modal verbs. It is better to go first verb first, is what I always say, right? So heeft gegeten is just better. It's just easier to memorize. So hij heeft geen honger omdat hij net pizza heeft gegeten. Although gegeten heeft is also correct in this case. Yes? Okay. Next one. We have two more. Next one is, Sanne kan niet komen, want ze gaat haar rijexamen doen. Okay, again, we have two verbs. We have gaat and doen. So what do we do here? Feel free to pause the video if you need to, because we're going to give you the answer now. And that is, Sanne kan niet komen omdat ze haar rijexamen gaat doen. And this is actually one of the cases where it's kind of weird if you switch them around. So if you say, omdat ze haar rijexamen doen gaat, that either sounds like you're from, like maybe from like, well, Germany, or maybe from like Limburg or like Belgium, right? Like it's just a little bit strange to Dutch people. So it's better to say, Sanne kan niet komen omdat ze haar rijexamen gaat doen. Yes? Okay, and then finally, the last one is the most difficult one, so we need to pay attention here, yes? We're going to do one in the present continuous tense. I'm not sure if you've used the present continuous tense in the past before. A lot of courses don't teach their students how to do the present continuous tense, and I don't know why, because I think it is very important. We use it in Dutch, like not as important as the others, but we use it, so you should learn how to do the present continuous. But anyway, the sentence is in the present continuous, and it is: wij kunnen het niet horen, want zij is piano aan het spelen. Think about it for a while. This one is a little bit tricky, right? Because we have spelen, and we have, zij is, so we have is and spelen. But then we also have aan het, which, if you know a little bit about the present continuous, is part of the verb, right? So it is not correct to say, wij kunnen het niet horen omdat zij piano aan het is spelen. That is not correct. And it is also not correct to say, omdat zij piano aan het is spelen. That is also not correct. So here we really don't have another option. So we have to go with the first verb at the end. Wij kunnen het niet horen omdat zij piano aan het spelen is. Yes? Okay, good. So I've taught you all I wanted to teach you about the verb kickers. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and book a class with me, and buy me a coffee, and all of that. And I hope to see you again soon for the next video. Goed gedaan, en tot ziens. Doei doei!